Welcome in, welcome in. Welcome to the Wild Boar Show. I'm Chris, the Wild Boar, and I'm so excited about my guest today. You know, Doug Beavis said, once a mayor, always a mayor, so I'll call you Mayor.
That's all right. You can call me Mayor.
Mayor Eric Seidel is joining me today, and we are actually, I'll give it away, our location's awesome. This is your back porch.
Yes.
So those of you that think that Oldsmar is just a highway that rolls past Lockheed and the flea market, it's a little bit more than that. But shh, don't tell them, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, This gentleman over here has been a buddy of mine and my family's for a long, long time. And I got lucky because I know that he has had some very important things that have been calling him away. And he told me that he was going to sneak into town for the Buccaneers game. Bucks win. Yeah, baby.
They won?
They did.
Yeah. It's a little close there. We'll take it, though. Win's a win, right?
Win's a win. We'll take that. All I can think of is Tony Dungy saying, we'll win ugly all the time. Right?
That's it.
So anyway, I'm going to talk quickly. I'm going to kind of just hand it to you because you've done so many things and so many great things here in Oldsmar. And as you know, our show is really community centric. It's all about giving back and some of those things. But you do more than just give back. You've got quite a story about a company and all that stuff. Eric,
Well, so listen, here's what I'll do, because I'm gonna do something different on your show today. If you'll trust me, trust me on this. Okay, this is gonna be fun because here I'll tell you about myself. I grew up in Miami. I've lived up here as I don't know, since the 90s. I was the CEO of a public company for a decade.
Oh, is that all?
And I had the great privilege of serving the JCs as the national president, which is a connection your dad and I
How about
had.
that? Yep.
And then, of course, I served on city council for a decade. Had the great privilege to be our mayor.
A very good one, too.
And so, well, I appreciate that. Not everybody agreed in that second election.
I know that. They never do.
But that's okay. I mean, that's, I still love this town. And for me, Jerry Beaverland, Mayor Beaverland, asked me this question when I very first ran, and this same answer applies. He said, "Why are you running?" And I said, as corny as it might sound, this is the place I want to die.
That's awesome.
And so that's me. But here's what I want to do.
Okay.
Because I want to flip the script today, because I don't think that your audience knows you as well as they should.
That can get dangerous.
And so I want to interview the man behind the microphone.
Oh, boy.
So, and I've done my research too.
Uh-oh.
Okay?
Oh, boy.
So are you good with this?
I don't know.
We're going to have fun. I promise.
We always have fun.
We're going to have fun. And I'm going to see if I can, I might bring a little emotion out in you. But let me start off a little bit of bio for you. Okay, so you went to Country High School. You went to the University of Central Florida, television, radio broadcasting, spent some years on live television doing remotes, working for the Orlando Magic, Tampa Bay Lightning, several other organizations, including the NFL, Arena Football, radio in Tampa with 910 WFNS.
The fans' choice.
There you go.
Right.
And did some radio voiceover work. President of Paradise Golf and Outback Sports Group in Tampa, and of course extensive experience in real estate, in mortgages, residential, and auctioneer for real estate, estate liquidations, business liquidations, and a hired bid caller. You were the champion bid caller auctioneer in Florida in 2022-2023.
What?
You're an instructor at the Florida Auctioneer Academy.
Still am.
Real estate broker.
Yep.
Numerous small business awards. I won't go into all of them. You worked on Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines for a couple of years, doing their auctions on there. To see you 22 months at sea, 5 ships, 40 different ports of call, including transatlantic to Spain, France, and Italy. But I think that's pretty interesting.
It's a neat Mediterranean summer.
A member of the National Auctioneer Association, president of the Florida Auction Alliance, member of the National Association of Realtors, Florida Association of Realtors, and Suncoast Tampa Association of Realtors. You have a beautiful wife, Missy.
Yes.
For 25 years. Son, Christopher, 9.5. You're a Little League baseball coach right now. A member of the North Bay Moose Lodge, which I'm a member of as well. And good company there.
Most of the time.
And you are the realtor auctioneer extraordinaire.
Oh, you're awesome.
So that's my recap of your bio, without going too long, right? But now I want to shift and get into the interview. And yes, I made notes. You're going to enjoy this.
You read all that stuff, and I wonder what I'm going to do when I grow up.
That's it. I think you're figuring it out, though. This podcast is great. I think it's a lot of fun. So here's what I like to do. I'm going to kind of go through phases.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
And I'm going to lighten it up, but I'm going to probably start it with a little bit serious.
Okay.
All right. And I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about your roots and family and early life.
Okay.
Because, see, most wouldn't know this, but I knew your parents before I knew you.
Yep.
And I knew your father, and he was on city council. Tragedy passed while he was on council.
Yeah.
And I was given the honor to fill the remainder of his term.
Yeah.
And we had a lot in common, so we had a lot of good conversations about you. And so let me ask you, talk a little bit about that and what it was like growing up in the Bohr house.
Smoky.
Smoky.
It was smoky.
Yeah.
Everybody smoked in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's fun. We had a great time. Oldsmar was this sleepy little town back then, and we were involved. Mom and Dad got involved right away. We moved here in 73. I always laugh and say it's because it's where the Gran Torino broke down, and we just never left. So we lived in Tampa. We were in Town and Country, came this way. Mom loved to read. Right away, got involved in the library, and back then it was open on Saturday mornings from whenever to whenever.
Right.
Yeah, that was it. We probably had 20 or 30 books, that kind of thing. We had Little League. Beaverland was a young man. He was only like 75 back then, maybe 80. I don't know how old he was, but he got involved. So the mom and dad were involved, and so that small town feel that everybody loves about Oldsmar is kind of what was ingrained in our household. And like to say that mom and dad helped to shape some of that, So we were involved.
They definitely do.
Oh,
They definitely do. And so now, where were you born?
In a hospital.
That's a shocker.
Yeah.
I thought it was in the car.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Tampa. According to the paper that the state issued, I was born in Tampa. And so since you asked the question, I'll tell you this. Mom and dad were from Pennsylvania. And they adopted a girl up there, a little girl, my sister, who's 3 years my elder. And they moved down here during the Disney boom. Dad was in the steel business, and he was a steel salesman, sold wire rope of all things. And so he got transferred down here, and they adopted me from the children's home in 1969. And we stayed here, and I've been all over the world, and I always come home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I knew that.
Yeah.
And I was going to let you say it, but
okay.
I will tell you. I know your father passed, but I can't even begin to tell you how proud he'd be of you. So I wanted to share that. So talk just a little bit about this one. If you had to think about like maybe the 2 or 3 core things you took away from your parents, what would you say that is?
Don't piss them off. No, things were a little different back then. He had the military background, and they all did back then. When I grew up, and think about it, I always talk about the baseball coaches and things like that. That they were so much harder than we are on the kids today. But think about this for a minute, Eric. These guys were coming back from Vietnam, Korea, World War II, right? So there was a strong bit of discipline, and I was not the disciplined sort, the disciplinary, what do I want to say?
Right,
I don't know what the word is, but so I was in trouble a lot.
Yeah.
But really, we had an open door, and so anybody could come by. We lived on a golf course. We lived on the first fairway of the golf course. So you couldn't play that golf course without going past our backyard. So our backyard was kind of our front yard. People would drop by all the time. Very, very social people, and we never turned anybody away. So we actually had a handful of foster kids growing up. So it wasn't just Katie and I, it was other kids. Involvement in, everything from baseball to soccer. I think it's just because they wanted to run them,
and I think, sitting on the outside looking in, I think that is one of the things that kind of has shaped what you and Missy do in terms of being so involved in the community and helping so many people. And, it's lessons that you just see, it's not inherited, it's taught.
Agreed.
And you learned it. So let me shift gears, that I got you a little choked up.
Yeah, a little bit.
I knew I would. Talk about the journey that shaped you, like more professionally, right? And like, when was that moment? Because look, real estate's not quote unquote entertaining,
right?
But television and communications,
sure.
Which is really when I think about Chris Bohr, I think about this guy who makes communications fun. Probably why you have a passion in the auctioneer area. But what was that time that made you go, hey, I think this is the direction I want to go.
That's a fair question, and it's an easy answer because I've been saying it for 30 plus years. We always have that one professor in college, right? So for me, I went to school thinking I was going to be a tattooed hammer swinger.
Right.
And I had a guy, Dr. Stephen Robitaille, who pulled me aside after a certain essay assignment. He said, "What are you going to do with your life? What are you studying?" And I said, "I'm going to be a building construction major." He's like, "Well, that's summers on roofs in July in Florida, or you could use this talent and be a writer. That's inside in the AC." And I went, wow. So I shifted my studies just a little bit, fell in love with a girl in college who had this cool class. At the time, it was like a slide tape presentation. This is today's PowerPoint, right? So this is the advent of PowerPoint, sort of. And I went and saw one of her projects, went, oh my God, I found my major. This is it. So I shifted. I thought, well, you know what, building construction, journalism, you got to write a lot in a journalism, pursuit of television. Man, you're just being a clown and having fun. And when I found out you could actually get a degree in that, I was like, the only thing that's easier is gym, right? Excuse me. So I decided to switch, and took me a lot of years to get out of a community college in Gainesville. And I finally realized that with my solid 2.65 GPA, I didn't quite have the grades for the journalism school at the University of Florida. You needed a 3L. Guess who took me? UCF, baby. 2.5 is all you needed. I walked in there, and I befriended a guy named Dave Free. Now, the reason I bring Dave up, because I'm sure he'll watch this as well, but Dave is the nephew of one of the founders of Gatorade. So there was a whole Gainesville connection. We had the same professor, and he knew a couple of guys, Larry Riders and Michael Mantovani, who were our age that were making money doing broadcasting in Orlando. And so I instantly got into remote sports broadcasting, kind of as a tech, which is weird because I'm not a tech guy. Right. I got a phone that takes pictures.
But you learn, you adjust.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So I did that, and what I did was I parlayed that into an opportunity here in Tampa. I went to see Dr. Keith Fowles. Went to see him, and I said, "Listen, I'm frustrated. I don't want to move to some podunk Nebraska. I'd like it here." He said, "Go find the smallest radio station in your market, and go get in their sales group. You'll be a great salesman, and you'll write your own copy." I was like, "Oh, how about that?"
That's good.
So
That's
I
good
did.
Advice, yeah.
So back then, it was 820 the team, which actually became 910 WFNS. And what happened, Eric, the real pivot was the Tampa Bay Lightning franchise had just been awarded. And these guys were the flagship station, this tiny little station that kind of sort of bred to 620 WDAA and all that other good stuff. So I was working with guys like Steve Duming, they called him the Big Dog, and Scott Brantley and some of these other cats. TJ Reeves, the sideline reporter for the Bucks.
Right.
He and I were, we sat in the same saddles. He was an afternoon drive guy. But, so I sure as heck, I went out and I sold radio time. And I got a chance to write my own ads and stuff. And I was the only guy they considered with broadcast quality pipes that didn't get seasick. So they sent me out on the Crown Empress cruise lines, which is the cruise to nowhere out of John's Pass, the gambling boat.
Gotcha.
So it went something like this. "Hi, it's Chris Bohr selling live aboard the Crown Empress cruise line. We got the Dolphins on the big screen. The porpoise off the bow. The only thing missing is you. Come and join us next week. We have NFL action. We have Vegas-style games. And have a fan that can't be beat."
Have not missed a beat. How about that? After all these years, have missed a beat. All right, so let me shift gears a little bit on that. On career and professional.
Yep.
So what was your biggest setback, and what'd you learn from it?
Biggest setback in the career. Boy, that's a challenge. I think I got stuck. FNS got sold, and so DAE took, and I went sort of this way. What I learned, though, was I was having a great time, but I wasn't getting any real financial compensation. So a lot of guys think that you're making all this money and this cool, and no, it wasn't quite like that. But I went into a sales career and began to earn and become a very, very strong wage earner. And like everybody else, leveraged the hell out of my life and myself, and had BMWs and boats and all the fun stuff that you do, right? Before you have kids. Anyway, so the biggest setback was probably the crash in 2008. And although that doesn't seem like that far away to our executive producer, he's like, wow, that was a long time ago. We did have color film and all that stuff back then. Yeah. But instant pictures were still something that you had to shake.
That's it, right.
Yeah, but anyway, that was it. And so I literally went bankrupt. Bankrupt about 18 years ago, and I've made my way back and those kind of things. So that's the biggest setback. And then you say, how did you recover?
Or what did you learn from that?
What did I learn from that? Don't overextend yourself and pay your bills on time. And
live within your means, right?
Sure.
Live within your means, and also don't believe your own BS.
Correct, yeah.
Right? I mean, that's a lesson I think all of us have to learn at some point. All right. So
very humbling.
Let's shift gear and talk about the Wild Boar Show.
Okay, sure.
All right. Fun show. I've watched quite a few episodes.
Yep.
Enjoyed where you had Mayor Gannon on here.
She's awesome.
And she's terrific, yeah. And Beavis, too. Mayor Beavis, you know.
What's a mayor always?
What's a mayor always?
So we got our third mayor already. Look at that. We're a month into this. 3 mayors.
So what sparked the Wild Boar show?
So I'm an octopus, right? As you just read, okay? So I'm an auctioneer and I'm a real estate agent. I participate in a lot of cool philanthropic stuff as far as benefit auctions and things like that, but it's a very difficult message to convey. So I thought, okay, how do I advertise? How do I let that word get out? And at the end of the day, I realized that the best way to do that is to let others tell my story.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? Why not mix it all together? And let's just start a podcast, right? And have a good time doing it. Trent said we should just do audio. You know, he said I have a great face for radio. And he's right. Yeah. So, and I thought, you know what? Why not? Because the barriers to entry, as you know, I mean, being a CEO, you can go broke just advertising to the wrong demographic, this, that, and the other. So,
and it's even like identifying what is the market. Right?
Correct.
You know, finding that sweet spot. Because once you find it, then you can just go after it, and it becomes, frankly, like working a program that you're making money.
Yep.
You know?
Well, yeah, and that wasn't even the goal. It was more of an advertising and marketing sort of pivot for me. And I've been involved in the Chamber of Commerce for years and years and years and years. And, you know, when you grow up in the Bohr household, it's just part of your fabric, right? So at the end of the day, that was what I did. I basically put it all together and he said, let's go. So I called my buddy Trent here, is my godson. He was a recent college grad. I said, you got time in your hands? He said, I got a little bit. I said, well, help me out with this project. So that's kind of what it was. And the whole idea here was get the message out about Oldsmar because I love it, right? So I can answer a lot of questions about real estate. And oh yeah, real estate agents, I don't hate you. You're not my enemy. You're actually my customer. I can work with you to help you get your property sold. So it's a difficult message to tell. And so that's how we got here.
All right, so then let's look in the future. 5 years from now.
Yeah.
You know, where do you hope the podcast is?
As long as I'm still having fun, we're getting it done. The minute it doesn't become fun, I'm done. That's it. So as long as I'm having fun, we do that. Now, where does it go? Eric, I've been really blessed. I mean, we have dozens and dozens of subscribers, and there's the views and the impressions are unbelievable. So did I blow away my expectations? Yes and no. I think I probably wanted higher and more. And then go back to that whole, whoopsie. Sure. Anyway, but to answer that question, which is a good question, I hope that it continues to propel the good folks of our community and the good points and aspects about our community and maybe beyond, right? I want to know about good. There's so much negativity out there, man.
Yeah.
When the Democrats have the White House, I listen to liberal radio just because they're happy. Now Trump is in the White House, I listen to conservative radio because they're happy. I'm just looking for happiness, and that's it, man. So that's it. 5 years, 10 years down the road, as long as we're having fun and there's still good people doing good things.
What's the most either funniest or awkward, surprising moment that you had in all of your interviews?
It's my last word.
I don't know that we can really talk about that. I think we edited a few things. I've sure had some great times. I will say this. The most adventurous was going 60 feet in the air to the top of Empire Adventure.
I bet.
With Jessica. The most fun, had to be our sessions recently with Stacy Sutton from Hook, Line, and Drinker. Awkward moments. There was a moment during the Jessica Wright, that's right, where I ran out of words.
Wow.
Never ever happened before. I literally said, you got to cut this.
Wow. You know what? I'm going to go watch that one because that'll be the first time I've ever seen that happen. All right. So those are some good moments.
We were 60 feet in the air. The wind was blowing. I'm freezing. And how many questions could you ask about a zip line?
Right. Yeah, that's true. I guess that's fair. That's fair. All right. Let me shift gears once again. A couple of fun things. Right?
Fun things.
All right. So, what's one quirky or unexpected thing about you that most people don't know?
Man, oh man, oh man. I just saw Trent lean back because I've known him all his life, right? He's my godson, so of course I was there when he was born. Probably that I have this secret quest for intellect. One of my favorite things to do is play Jeopardy. I do it on my phone all the time. That's how I kill time. I love trivial matters. I'm probably smarter than most people think, right? Like definitely smarter than I look.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we both have that.
That's
yeah.
it. And then and I still have a passion for writing and poetry and things like that. So do I ever publish it? Nah, I don't even know where it is anymore.
Well, you should.
Maybe I should. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
So that's probably a quirky thing. You wouldn't look at me as I'm, dangling off a chandelier.
So if you had a superpower,
yeah.
What superpower would you pick if you could pick any?
So there's a couple that came to mind when you asked me about something like that, because I knew this question was coming, and I had two. And one I thought, not really, which is I'd love to be a mind reader, but would I really? No.
I hate to say that's mine.
Yeah. I knew that. I knew that.
You read my mind.
I knew that.
Maybe you had that already.
I knew that. Yep.
Oh, jeez.
Yep. But I have a feeling, being in the auction business, there's a lot of things called false tells, which is you think somebody's bidding because they scratch their nose and Hollywood's not our friend. But if I could read the mind, I would know, and then I wouldn't have to look. Hey, what are you, 25? 30, here we get 35 again. And I would just know. You know what I would like to do? And I think you and I are both in that quest, and for whatever reason later in life, and that is to fly. I would love to be able to just fly. Now, having assumed that I had that superpower and nobody else really had it. Because it would get really crowded.
It'd get crowded up there. You'd have drunk drivers, I guess drunk flyers.
Sure.
Yeah. That'd be bad.
Oh, smart. We'd be clogged.
So now, if money was no object.
None.
And you had time on your hand, what dream project would you work on?
It wouldn't be a project. It'd be an adventure.
Okay.
It'd be an adventure. And I think that I'd like to sail the rest of the world. I really enjoyed that. It was, anyway, that can kind of go down a rabbit hole there, but why would I want to do that? Because it was the most eye-opening thing that has ever happened to me in my entire life, right? Oh, what about Christopher? No, literally, I worked in an environment where there was zero unemployment. Wow. I was the minority. I was in my 40s. I was from the United States. English was my first language. And I was surrounded by people that were from 70 different countries and cultures.
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
For a couple of years.
Wow.
Right? And I'd love to see the rest of it. Like, what forms this and what forms that and our beautiful planet? So that's a fun question.
So was there any takeaway you got from being around such a diverse group of people?
Yeah. I'm much more tolerant.
Perspective.
Yes, for sure. Much more tolerant, understanding, appreciating that. I think one of the most frustrating things we have as parents, you asked about Jane and Don. I understand Dad's frustrations, and I think we all understand our parents' frustrations when we're not showing gratitude as children, right? For me in the house, the military respect was a given, right? And then you understand it when you get later in life,
right.
Okay? Especially going through Gulf Wars and things like that. Not that I served, but God bless you to all of you that did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Had David McKinley on, was one of my very first guests. But I think that the tolerance and the appreciation for what we have. We live in the greatest country in the world. And I'm sure there's some fantastic countries that I haven't seen.
Sure.
But the land of opportunity is exactly what this is. Get off your ass and go to work.
Yeah.
And if you can't, there's something you can do. And it's proven. I can show you example after example, but that was my big takeaway was, wow, people looked at me, and they looked at our opportunity, and they looked at the fact that we're from the United States, and it felt like maybe we had something that they didn't have. And right? That was my big takeaway. So, yeah, much more tolerant and appreciative of what we have here in the great country.
You know what's funny? I had the opportunity to serve on the international level on a volunteer organization on their board of directors, which I'm there in 111 countries and territories. And one thing that I took away was the very basic fundamental thing was we all want the same thing. We want a better future for our kids.
Sure.
We don't want all this fighting and stuff. So
it was summed up pretty well a couple hundred years ago. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job.
All right, vision. What do you hope your legacy will be?
I hope I made you laugh.
Well, that's a good legacy.
I hope I made you laugh. I hope somewhere in there that you got a good old belly laugh out of Chris Bohr. Well, wild Bohr.
You know what? I think that summarizes it because you're already doing that now, my friend.
Appreciate it.
And, I appreciate you humoring me and let me ask you a few questions. I know we're on a timetable here, so I won't keep running along. I'll wrap up and say, if there was one message your audience could take away from you, what would you like them to hear?
This moment of silence is brought to you by everything inappropriate that's racing through my mind right now. just be nice to each other, for God's sakes. Try to be a little bit more tolerant. And I'm not that great at it. I appreciate it, and I try to be, but that's it, guys. Especially right now, it's a holiday season. The traffic sucks. This stinks. That stinks. It's stressful for a lot of people. Try to understand. Everybody's going through something, but that's it. And don't be afraid to pick up the phone. I got to believe I'm a pretty approachable guy, just like you are. Call me.
Definitely. Well, listen, I wish you all the luck in the podcast. I was going to say you can ask me one question, but I'm not.
Why?
Because we'll save it for another time.
I knew that.
And hey, thanks, buddy. It's been a blast.
Man. That's pretty cool.
And thank you. Welcome to the Seidel home. You know, we
absolutely.
appreciate you being on our back porch.
Well, that went absolutely this way, but that's okay. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks, to the Wild Boar Show. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and we'll be back real soon. We're out.